What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be answering the question of whether XAYAH is actually overpowered or whether she's just really overhyped. Like, I know there's been a lot of gameplay footage out there at the moment, but they're pretty much showing you like the good side of her and not when they feed her ass off. So we're going to answer the question properly. We're going to go through her abilities, kind of her overall strengths and weaknesses, I guess, what she's good at, what she's bad at, her items, and also mastery stuff and runes as well. So what you would actually do with her, I guess, and some combos and stuff like that. This is going to be a bit different because I'm actually in the training tool. You can see I can have all of these up here as well. But this, I think, is the best way of showing you her combos and how her abilities work. But it's a bit different from the gameplay I'd normally use. Let me know, I guess, in the comments what you prefer. I guess this won't be as interesting, but it's probably more useful. So I'm not really sure. Just let me know in the comments. But let's get this started straight away. So we're going to go through our abilities very quickly, first of all, and just say whether they're good, strong, if they're going to be crap or whatever. We're going to start with her passive, which is basically all of her damage. So the way you want to think of XAYAH is a lot like if Lucian and Kalista decided to have some nasty action and they popped out XAYAH. That's kind of actually what the champion's very like her feather system is very similar to Ren's system, even though it's obviously completely different. Like, it doesn't just stack on one target, for example, like a Ren. The way you play around it is very, very similar. So every time you use an ability, you get 3 feathers. You can hold 5 though. So basically the way you want to do this is you would fire off your Q, you would auto attack to bring the feathers down to 2, like the total feathers, and then you'd use your W to get back to 5. So you always have to make sure that you're using these properly, otherwise you're going to waste feathers, and they are a lot of your damage. Basically, when you use this, if I just use an ability, for example, my Q, just here, wrong button. Now every time I auto attack, it's going to do this and fire a feather out instead. Now this does full damage to the first target and 50% to the ones after. So this is actually a lot of damage, but the thing you have to remember is it's a lot of AoE damage. So this is also where XAYAH's like one of her strengths come in. She has massive AoE damage, but really pants single target damage, honestly. Like, she doesn't have that Ren to blow somebody up. What she does really well though is massive amounts of AoE in a team fight. So like, end of the game wise, she's probably going to have the most damage in the game if you play her correctly, because you have these feathers flying everywhere. The problem is going to be more like if you have a tank or an Irelia or something jumping onto you, you're not very good at killing that Irelia. You're good at kiting her, but you're not very good at killing her. You're just able there to do like massive amounts of AoE damage. So in the right team comp, she is probably going to be very, very overpowered in the sense that she can just kill everybody or do a massive amount of damage to everybody and then others finish her off. But she's probably not going to be bursting one single target that hard. So that is the first thing that we want to say though. Like, the first basic combo with her is going to be using your Q, 4 feathers, using 1 feather there, and then activating your W again to get to 5. You're obviously, with your W, you're going to be getting attack speed, so you'll fire off these feathers afterwards. But that is the basic combo. So if we just level up, well, I kind of want to show you this very quickly. It's 30% attack speed, by the way, for the next 4 seconds. But also they do an additional 20% damage. So if we just do this, well, they strike for an additional time for 20% damage or whatever. But anyway, basically 50% attack speed at rank 5, which is really good. We're going to level these up as well. This one actually damage wise doesn't go up massively because it's kind of a stacking system. But anyway, so this will be the basic combo. You'd fire your Q off, you'd use it once, you'd use your W here, get them all on the ground, and then you'd ping with your E back like that. So that's kind of, obviously I have no items, it's doing no damage, but that is basically how you want to do it. And you can see that you kind of have to do this all in that way, otherwise you're not really going to be doing much damage. So that is why it's kind of hard to play her, in my opinion, because you're going to be having to use your Q properly, your W properly, and your E, and waiting. And that's a lot of time to just kind of sit there and do nothing. But anyway, so her Q is going to fire these off, and it's going to do 50% damage to the ones behind, full damage to the ones in front. This is pretty good wave clear. It's exactly like Caitlyn's Q, if you want to think of it like that. Does more damage to the first one, then reduced afterwards. It's actually a strong ability, but remember you get 3 feathers after, so wave clear wise, this is really, really good. W is going to be really good. You have 50% attack speed, and obviously if you use this properly, when you have your 5 feathers, because you've used your Q first, you actually do a lot of damage. And if you strike an enemy champion, you gain 30% move speed for 1.5 seconds. So this is a really good kite tool. We're going to get into that in a second. Obviously her E is a thing where if you fire feathers down here and then use the E, these are going to be rooted, which is pretty good for a second. Not the highest time ever, but the thing that you can like fire these out consistently and root consistently is going to be a massive tool for you to use kiting wise. So I guess ultimate, obviously we've kind of seen this a million times, but she's going to fire out. You can move in this as well. and then it's basically a guaranteed route on the first target you're using, and you can use it to dodge as well. But we're gonna get our cooldowns back very quickly. So overall then, that's how our abilities work, and that's her basic kind of like combo system and stuff as well. Use your Q, auto attack, you could use your R here as well, fire off, you could use your E, and then you go down to, well, I should have probably gone down to 2, use your E again. So your E actually has an 8-second cooldown with no cooldown reduction, and that's kind of pants actually. It's one of the things that, like, one of her weaknesses is that she's very reliant on her E to actually do any damage. It does a lot of burst damage, especially with the crit build, which is what I'm going to be purchasing now, just to kind of show you guys exactly how it works. I don't know if you want to go like full ham 100% crit or not. In my opinion, probably not, because you really need to get like a Bloodthirster here and a Last Whisper as well. Otherwise your damage wise is going to be pretty pants. We're going to get this one because the other one does percentage health damage, and it's kind of screwed on these dummies who have 10k health. But once you have like some crit, and obviously your Q is on like a 5-second cooldown, and then your E would be on a 5.6. So this is with 30% cooldown reduction, not even 40%. So when you have this, really in a team fight, what you're going to be doing is trying to manage your feather system as much as possible, using your E for damage, for burst, and to root people. The overall strengths, I guess, if we get into that of... So let me just set her dancing around while we talk about this. Strengths wise, like, her biggest thing is kiting. She's like a Callista, but she kites even better because she has her E to root. You are really reliant on attack moving though. If you can't attack move, I probably would not play this champion, honestly. It's really going to be hard for you to do anything because you have to run and attack to send feathers backwards to then use your E to root the person onto you. You have pretty short range, which is another kind of weakness as well. But with this kiting system, it kind of makes up for it a little bit at least. So the AoE route is insane in a team fight. You're going to be flying up like this, just using your Q probably and your R afterwards like that. You can kind of cancel it using your E straight away, and you've just got a 3-person route. Now imagine if Temu just goes in there and dives in with his R, roots everybody up, and then afterwards you're going to be using your stuff as well. So they're rooted for even longer. That kind of AoE route in a team fight is pretty crazy, and also just the AoE damage. So using your Q and like auto attacking, use your W here. You're attacking all of these. Obviously, you're doing way more damage to the first target hit, but like if you manage this properly, it's kind of ridiculous because I got the cooldowns off and stuff right now. But either way, you get multiple AoE routes in a team fight. You get a lot of AoE damage, and that's why most XAYAHs that I've seen on the PBE, not because she's broken, but just because of how her kit works, does the most damage in the entire game. Otherwise, you can like dodge big ultimates with your R. Like this actually becomes untargetable here. So if a Z jumps onto you and tries to burst you in a combo, not going to work. You can dodge a Karth assault by doing this. You can dodge a Fizz ult by doing this as well. All of these things you can dodge, which makes her actually pretty difficult, but that is your only defensive tool in the entire thing. So persistent damage wise, she's really good because low cooldowns, you're pumping out feathers constantly. You're using your E all the time. You're using your feather damage as well, just like through the entire team. And you have the attack speed, which is on a relatively low cooldown, 8 seconds. For 4 seconds or 50% attack speed. You only have a 4-second downtime with this, so 4 seconds using a 50%, 4 seconds waiting, then you're back again to 4 seconds. So every 4 seconds, for those 4, you're going to get 50% attack speed, which is pretty good when you're full build, especially with a crit build as well. So she actually is a really good team pick. She's kind of like an Ashe or a Varus or somebody like this who has a lot of like team damage and has a lot of ways to help her team as well, like with the roots and stuff, but she's able to kite people really well, and she does have a lot of damage output. It's just more AoE damage output rather than single target. It can be pretty single target and it can be burst if you set it up properly. What by burst, okay, normally when I mean burst at the start of the start of a fight, so you can kill people in like 2 or 3 seconds, but I guess it can mean something else as well. You can fire your Q here, use your W like this, and then now if I use my E, that does do a chunk of burst damage because this does a lot. Actually, like when you're late game, it does a ton. It's increased by crit chance as well. So it really does a lot when you have a crit build, and that does burst people. So it can catch people off guard, but it's like burst after 7 seconds into a fight, which is kind of weird. Apart from that, then that's basically her strength. So she's a good kiter, AoE root, AoE damage. She can dodge ultimates. She has persistent damage, so really high if you leave her alone. And she's a really good team pick. Weaknesses wise, she's very reliant on her E. This like early game with no cooldown reduction, it's really high cooldown. And if you blow this in a team fight or if you blow it in like a 2v2 fight and stuff, your damage is massively reduced and you can't root people. It is really good for trading, But if you fight and you use it early by accident when you only have like 2 or 3 feathers out, then you're kind of screwed, honestly. Also, you suck ass when you're chasing people. So if I just show this very quickly, if this guy is running at me and I use my Q, these feathers go behind him, right? Now, if this guy is running away from me and I use my feathers, they are like in front of him for like 2 seconds or something, and then he's run past them already, right? So when someone is running at you, you're really, really good. But when somebody's running away from you, you really suck because your feathers are not going to get in front of him at all. So he's going to keep running. You're going to auto attack, but the feather is never going to be that far behind him that you can set up 3 to root somebody. So you're really bad when somebody is running away from you, which is kind of the same for most ADs, but you have gap closers and stuff on ADs. Like Lucian has his dash or Ezreal to chase. XAYAH has nothing like that at all. So honestly, when somebody's running away from you, you are really, really, really bad. And on the same, like kind of on the opposite side of that, if you ever play against XAYAH and you're chasing her, you're going to get hit by so many feathers, you're going to get rooted, and you're probably going to get turned around on. So you never want to chase her, but you just kind of want to run away from her and kite her, I guess is the way to point that out. You have no mobility as well in your kit at all. You have a root, which is nice, obviously, and you have this. This is the only thing. You can dodge, and obviously you can move a little bit while you're in it and untargetable, but that's it. Like, apart from that, you have absolutely nothing. So even though it's a damage tool, like it does decent damage, 450 is pretty decent. And obviously you have, it's not really 450 though, because you fire out 5 feathers, which obviously do a lot of damage as they come back as well. So it's more than that, but you have to remember that if you use this for damage, you're kind of screwed because you have nothing else. So, you know, you do like 900 damage with your ultimate, which is not too bad, to be honest. But that is all your mobility after that, and you're very reliant on attack moving, as I kind of said. If you can't attack move, I would not play XAYAH. Like, if you're trying to kite somebody, if you just run, you're useless. Like, you have no mobility. The only way you survive when somebody's chasing you is if you turn around and attack and put feathers with them, and then you can use your root. It's a really good way of kiting people. Like, honestly, you're very good when you're left alone. So if your team never pills for you, XAYAH is a pretty good pick as long as you can attack move. But apart from that, if you can't attack move, you're really, really going to suffer. And as we said, you don't have much burst until she has her feathers down. It really does take a lot of time to set up. So that's kind of like the overall strengths and weaknesses wise. To recap, she's really good at kiting, AoE root, AoE damage. So you're going to top the damage charts most likely every single game. And for your team, if you have a decent team, that's really, really good. Dodge the ultimates. You don't really need much self-pill. You can kind of do that for yourself. Your persistent damage, but you're not the best single target. So like, you're relying on your E. If you mess that up, you're kind of in trouble. You suck ass when you're chasing people, but you're very good when they're chasing you. You have no mobility at all, and you're very reliant on attack moving with your feathers. So I guess it's a lot like Kalista. Like, if you can't attack move when you're running backwards, you're in a lot of trouble, but you don't have that passive hop to help you do it. So it is harder as well. That's going to run down pretty much like how you're going to use her combo wise, ability wise, what she's good at, what she's bad at. And so overall, really, is she overpowered? Not really. I don't think so. I think she's overhyped. She is good because she has a lot of consistent damage, and I think she has a high skill ceiling, so she's relatively straightforward to play to start with. You can have some impact on her, but there are a lot of different ways you can manage your feathers properly. You can manage your E cooldown properly. You can kite people, you can root people, use your ultimate. Like, all of these things actually take some kind of brain and some kind of skill as well, and mastery on the champion. So the more you play her on this, the better you are going to get, which I think is really cool, and it's a really fun thing to have, which is kind of like Kalista and Lucian as well. So that is pretty much this recap. I know it's a bit long. Honestly, I did not want to make it this long at all, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is a proper rundown of whether she's overpowered or not. I might make another one for Rakan, but I'm going to make it shorter probably and see which one you prefer. Thank you very much for watching the video though, guys. I really appreciate it. And that is all for now, so I'll catch you in tomorrow's video.